Keeping you in the know, you know, no. What's good, YouTube family? This your brother Real Deal with another you know video. And in today's video, I want to talk about something that's very prevalent in today's society that we talk about all the time. That it seems like it's a common occurrence in our society. But I want to talk about a case coming out of Racine County. Racine is a small town in Wisconsin, for those who might not know. And I stayed in Milwaukee, so I know how to get down in Wisconsin. I've been to Racine a couple of times also. But basically a cop by the name of Eric Geise, he's a veteran on the Racine Police Force. Sergeant Eric Geise, he's been a cop for the last 12 years. He encountered a young man by the name of Tyrese West, riding a bicycle. He was riding his bike, and it was like at 1 a.m. And I believe the reasoning that they saying for the stop is because he didn't have a the proper lighting on his bike, and he was riding on the curb, or the officer claimed that he was driving erratic or whatever, riding his bike erratically. But what I want to do is play a little snippet of the aftermath, because he did kill his young brother, and I'm gonna come back and do more commentary, family.
West continued on. The Mount Pleasant police officer ran after him. The situation quickly intensifies. What the f*** is going on? Shoot you! That interaction proved to be deadly. Investigators also released body camera footage from after the fatal shooting, where Sergeant Geise tells his fellow officers what happened, describing the final moments before he pulled the trigger.
And I told him, I said, I won't shoot you, I'm going to shoot you.
In a statement, DA Patricia Hansen says she ultimately decided the deadly use of force was justified, saying the case fell under self-defense. She said West had a gun and continued to reach for the weapon, despite commands not to. Photos of the gun were released along with other evidence Wednesday. Hansen calls Geise's decision to shoot legal and ethical.
Yes, family. Basically, that was the aftermath of the encounter with Eric Geise, Sergeant Eric Geise, and the young brother Tyrese West after he killed the young brother. The brother was shot 3 times, one time in the shoulder, 2 times in the head. And according to the video, Officer Eric Geise claimed that it was an act of self-defense. That was the only way that he could subdue the young brother. But basically, this incident happened June 15th at 1 a.m. The young brother was riding his bike. He was riding his bicycle. And according to, because they didn't really explain it in the news footage or whatever, but according to the reports, he said that the young brother didn't have the proper lighting on his bicycle, so he wanted to stop him and see what he was up to. And this was at 1 a.m. So, but basically an encounter happened. The young brother ended up getting off the bike, running, and then the officer gets him to the ground. And I guess according to the officer's statement, when the young brother was on the ground, it looked like he was reaching for a gun. And what he did was, that was the only way and they also reported that he fired a taser, but he missed. But then they said, well, the only way that he could stop him, because he said he had a gun, and he shot him 3 times. And, that sounds eerily familiar, George and Trayvon Martin, where someone follows, someone is minding their own business, and then take the law into their own hands. And basically, the thing is, what the news isn't saying is basically that the young brother was basically running from the police. And what they don't want to say is, why was he running from the police? Because it's not saying, it's stating that the officer stated that he had a body camera on this person at the time, but he did not turn it on because it happened so fast. So he didn't turn on the body cam. And then, when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, well, okay, it's your job. You know what I'm saying? Because like most people's job, when you work in your job, you have certain procedures and steps that you have to do. And if something happened while you on the clock and that you could have did to prevent certain things, then you got to do that. And if you don't do that, you're going to be held fully responsible for not doing your job to its full capability. But when you're a race soldier, police officer, you're allowed to do these state-sanctioned executions towards young black and brown individuals. You get what I'm saying, family? So this is nothing new. The system allows these police officers to be the ones to tell the story. See, Tyrese West is not here to tell the story. Many brothers and sisters that got killed by the hands of the police officers is not here to tell the story. And another thing I noticed on the news, in the news article I read, it was basically going over a little brief history of Tyrese West's criminal history, which he wasn't too much. He had little minor offenses. He was a young brother growing up in Racine, Wisconsin, which is very economically not prosperous for black people at all. So he probably came from a broken home anyway, single mother and all that. But they was reading out his little things saying he did this, that, whatever. But like the white supremacists like to always use when it comes to them, well, he was young, he changed and all that other stuff. But when you a black person, you don't get the chance to change because they're gonna be judge, jury, and executioner just because you were a certain way at one time. See, this young brother wasn't able to live his life. He wasn't able to tell his story because of the officer took that into his own hands. But I noticed they always talk about the victim and demonize the victim. Oh, he did this, he did that. But they don't never go over the officer's history. How many people he didn't kill while on duty? How many unarmed people he didn't kill? How many infractions that he didn't committed as a police officer? They don't never do that. See, right then and there shows you that the district attorneys, the court, the judge, the court system, and the police are together to make one big cover up. And the DA, I believe, what's the DA name? Patricia Hansen. She said that, in my opinion, that the officer action in this case falls under the privilege of self-defense. See, when you're white, self-defense is a privilege. But when you're black, it's not a privilege. You got to be forgiven and be on your best behavior as a black man in this society. So if you look at a white person too hard, they can call the police on you and say they feel threatened. You get what I'm saying, family? And this district attorney Patricia Hansen with her Stewie, with her Peter Griffin and drag looking ass, of course she's gonna say, "Oh, it was self-defense," because it's not one of her people that's getting gunned down and shot in the street the way that they treat dogs better than they treat our people. See, we got to understand that. And, they want to go over this young brother's little brief criminal history. He was only 18. He didn't graduate high school yet. But they want to go over his little brief history. But they're not going to go over the history of this police officer, Eric Geise, that killed this young brother. This Eric Geise was, I believe he was an Army veteran. Army National Guard. And he was in the Marines. And I'm not sure if he was over fighting overseas. I think he was. But they don't talk about, a lot of these people that come over here and join, that's from military background, come over here and be police officers. They use that same military mindset when they patrolling the hood where young black boys be. So they treat them like the same as the way they do those so-called, what you want to call, terrorist insurgents over there in the Middle East or wherever. You get what I'm saying, family? So at the end of the day, in the case, they said that the officer reported that he had a gun. And they said that it was a gun on the scene when they came over there to pick up the young brother's body. It was a gun vial. Which, let's say if he did have a gun, it's not illegal to have a gun. It's not. I think the state of Wisconsin is a open carry state, so a lot of people carry guns. I done seen white boys with guns all the time. But say if he did have a gun, why would he run from the police officer and then want to start pulling the gun out? Like, it's certain things that don't make sense. And if this officer was showing, not telling the story, why did he not have his body cam running at the time, family? We gotta ask these questions. We gotta ask these questions because honestly, that seemed like it was the perfect time to do one of these executions, because we do know that a lot of these white supremacist groups have infiltrated police, and for them to murder a black person gives them notches under their belt in these white supremacist groups. So he probably was like, man, this is the perfect time. You know what I'm saying? It's 1 o'clock at night. Ain't nobody outside. Man, let me get this nigga. Let me kill him. Let me mess with him. You get what I'm saying? And for all we know, the young brother probably was running for his life because he knew the cop was on bullshit with him, family. See, we got to understand this. See, black folk, we the ones that's always taught to forgive and do all this other forgiving stuff and pray and all that other shit. Man, fuck that shit, because they don't forgive us. They don't. When they do this, see, when the officer killed that young brother, he didn't have forgiveness. You could tell on the video that was played right after the incident, he kept fucking moving. He still had that rage in him. He didn't have no forgiveness. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we need to stop allowing these people, when we show forgiveness, like we just witnessed, and that Coonapalooza, yeah, I'm gonna call it Coonapalooza, where you had the black judge, the black bailiff, and even the brothers, the victim's brother, all in there, all apologetic, want to be actually, we forgive you, and I hope you find Jesus and all that. In the Botham John case, see, we need to get off of that. Even in Charleston, right after that white supremacist Dylan Roof went in that church and killed all them black folks. You got the family of them saying, oh, we forgive them, and the body's still warm in the morgue. Come on now, family. We need to get off of that. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to forgive, but don't be doing that shit, blowing that shit all out in the mainstream, talking about some, oh, we forgive, because that sets a precedent, and it shows, oh, these black folks are weak and they not on code, because other groups will not get on the fucking stand and be like, oh, we forgive him for murdering one of my loved ones. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it, but we do it. You didn't see O.J. Simpson's ex-wife, her family all on the stand talking about we forgive O.J. and all this other shit. You didn't see white people going out like that, but when it comes to us as black folk, we always got to be the forgiving ones. But we the ones that's getting brutalized and murdered in the street by these state-sanctioned race soldiers. Come on now, family. So that's giving them a pass. So the officer is back on full duty with no restrictions now. He's going to be able to finish working his job, and then potentially he's going to be able to murder somebody else again with impunity. He probably feels emboldened now. Well, I got one notch on him. I got another notch under my belt. So it's nothing to me to kill a nigger. I done did it before. You know what I'm saying? So family, we got to understand what's really going on. We got to really understand what's really going on, family. Stop being all forgiving to our oppressors, man. Come on now. The slave patrol, that's all the modern police is, man. In the early, I think black people weren't allowed to be police officers like that until I believe like the 40s or something like that. And the black police officers weren't able to have guns. One, they wasn't able to have guns. Two, they wasn't able to arrest white people. And anything that they had against white people wasn't even admissible in court. Come on now, fam, but they was police officers. So it was just basically a title. Same thing with a lot of these so-called judges and DAs. We know who's the ones really working in. Okay, you can have a black judge, but is he working in black people's interests? Come on now. Come on now, family. We gotta understand what we really dealing with, man. It's 2019, man. And we still the ones praying, marching, and forgiving, man. We got to get off of that, family. We got to get off. No, I don't forgive you for killing my loved one. No. Because I know my loved one, when my loved one would still be here, if you would have thought rationally and been like, we can handle this, I can handle this situation like a sane person without having to kill somebody. See, America, we have more police shootings and all this other stuff than any other country for a reason, man. Because we like promoting that. We like promoting the black boogeyman. Oh, I feared for my life, so I gotta kill him. Through the media and everything, the black boogeyman. Through our music, everything. The black boogeyman. Movies like, in the early 1900s, movies like Birth of a Nation depicted the black scary boogeyman that's gonna eat you and rape you and murder you and rape all the white women. And you don't think they still got that type of mentality? Oh, these black people are gonna get you. They're gonna get you. Oh, the black boogeyman. Shit, that's how George Zimmerman looked at Trayvon Martin. You would have thought he was fucking King Kong or Godzilla the way they was talking about. He came out of the bushes and roar. Same with this young brother, man. That young brother I honestly believe that young brother was feared for his life and he ran. And they claim that he had a gun. I don't believe that because the officer, it's nothing for a police officer to plant a gun. They do it all the time. So simple as that, family. Simple as that. So we got to understand what we dealing with in this society, family. But that's all I really got to say, man, about that, man. Because, man, it's sad, man. Black folk, we need to wake up and stop marching and start taking action. As far as not allowing these race soldiers to come in our community and harm our people. Yes, and black family, we have to stop being so forgiving. Really, we do. Because at the end of the day, a mother then lost her child. And she wants justice for her son. While her son is riding in the ground right now, riding in the ground right now, this police officer is on full duty, working his job like the shit never happened, family. And that's a continuation. I mean, it's been happening. And, you know, black folks, we've been trained to go through hardships for so long. We've been trained to go through hardships and get over it. Like on the plantation. When the brother was tarred and feathered and whipped and hanged in front of his own mom, family, and everything. You know what they told his mama? Get over it. Now get back on that field and work. And then all she had was Sky Daddy. That's all she had was Jesus. And had to be forgiven and pray. And we have that same mentality to this day, family. We need to get off of that. We need to really get off of that. And like I was saying earlier, man, when they allowed black people to become police officers, it wasn't the fact that they wanted black people to be equal in this system as far as being able to be, and as far as the law and order. It's basically they were still in control. Because like I said, they didn't give black people guns. We weren't allowed to arrest white people. None of that. We weren't allowed to do that. And that's why they got all these tokenized Negroes out here running around with these titles, these worthless, pointless titles, family. So we need to get off of that. We got to understand we're working against our own self-interest by aligning ourselves with this system that's not going to be beneficial to us. In the long run, it never has been. And we keep praying and asking Sky Daddy to come and help us and save us. Come on now, family. Come on now. It's the reason why they don't like black men with guns, but they get all the guns. They can have all the guns all day, but when the black man arm itself is even, then they don't want it. The black man, you know what's your gun? This is your gun. This is your gun. When they say you got a gun, this is the gun, cause you black. That black boogeyman, we gonna get him. So at the end of the day, family, we gotta understand what we really dealing with in this system and understand that we always been under attack. It's nothing new. It's been going on since we was on them plantations in the South and all around America, family. And then us as black people, when we talk about our hardships and our plights and what goes on with our people and everything, and how this system has oppressed our people for so long. They say, get over it. Slavery was a long time ago, and all you black people do is complain and all this other stuff. It's easy to say that when you didn't have a head start over a group that built this country free of charge and never got compensated for it, I may add. But it's easy to attack someone that doesn't have the power to defend themselves. You know, when you see black folks talk about all these police killing our people, the first thing I usually hear are white supremacists, and a lot of these white supremacist think tanks like Fox News, CNN, and all that. First thing they say, well, what about black on black crime? Black on black crime. See, black on black crime has became the new. That's basically a way to deflect and say that black people deserve the treatment that they have been receiving because we are some type of criminals. But when a white person do it, it's, oh, they're defending their land, they're abiding by the amendments, and it's their right to defend themselves and all this other extra stuff. It's always extras. But when it comes to black people, full extent of the law, no more talking, Negro. And us as black folk, we need to start holding these DAs, these judges, these police officers, start holding these people accountable for all the things that they do. Check their track record. Don't just be voting for somebody. See, we got an election coming up. Don't just be voting for somebody just because. You got to check their track record. See what they done. And black folk, we have a bad habit of that. Because we forgiving. We are some of the most, I'm not even going to say some of the most, we are the most forgiving people on this planet. Ain't no other group would go through all the things that us as black Americans has been through for so long and then start being on some, want to hug and forgive their oppressor. Yeah, so that's the reality, man. And I give my condolences to the young brother, Tyrese West, and his family, and I hope that they get justice, really. But it don't seem like it because the court system, basically how they do us as white folk. We just stuck and no answers while he get to run free and continue to be the racist Officer Geise, continue to be the racist bigot that he always been, you know. And this young brother dead. But with that said, family, stay cool, stay blessed, stay black.